Hey YouTube fans, you haven't seen a video from me for quite a while because I've been kind of sitting on the sidelines. I had a little bit of surgery back in late January, and it put me out of the water for about a month. During that time though, I just didn't sit idle. I did make some changes to my kayak, which I want to show you today. As I pan back, you'll immediately see the difference. I've added a trolling motor. You might say, why would you want to add a trolling motor to a kayak? For me, it makes it a lot easier. I'm a little bit older, as you can tell. I'm in my 70s, and I don't have the physical strength that a lot of you young guys have, or endurance. So if I get out in a situation where the wind or the current is against me, then paddling is pretty hard for me. But I still paddle as much as I can, and I'm going to use the trolling motor to fish on days that I would normally stay home. I have a rule regarding the wind, and if it's blowing, above 5, I might stay home. Anywhere from 5 to 10, I'm going to stay home because it's just too much for me to handle the kayak in the wind. And if you get a current on top of that, it makes it even worse, especially up in the rivers. The river system, which I do fish sometimes, you're fighting a current, and it makes it pretty difficult. First thing I had to do when I got the trolling motor was I removed the head, removed the switch that controls the speed, cutting the wires, and I've mounted those in a separate box. This is the second box. The first box I got was a little bit too big. It got cumbersome, so I ordered a smaller box, and the switch fits in there very tightly and very neatly. I control the speeds by just so. Actually, one is pretty adequate on a calm day. If I'm going against the wind or want to move a little faster, I'll move it up to 3. I never have used 4 or 5 because it goes pretty doggone fast if you do. If you want to go in reverse, you just go the opposite direction. 1, 2, 3. I removed the locking mechanism that keeps the motor from locking in a certain position, and because I did that, you cannot go directly to 3 when you're going in reverse. If you do, the motor will pop up. You start off slow on 1 as the kayak responds and builds up speed, then you can go to 2. I added wiring to go from my switch box all the way back to the motor in there, and I'm going to go into some detail on the wiring in just a few minutes. Steering mechanism, you have to have a way to steer from your seat, so I'm using the existing cord from the rudder that I removed, and on the back I mounted this little bracket here. At first I had just a bar going across. This is nothing but a piece of PVC pipe. I drilled my holes here, and the wires ran up to those holes, but it didn't work that well, so I added these little extension arms and put eye bolts through there and a stainless steel clip, attach it to my cord. I designed it so that I can easily remove the motor and the battery. So to remove it, all I have to do is unhook the wiring from the battery, remove 2 clips, one on each side here, this clip here, and remove this right here, and unscrew it and take it off. It's that easy. And vice versa, it's easy to put back on. The battery that I chose is a Duracell 35 amp hour deep cycle. It only weighs 24 pounds, and I've had the kayak out 4 times so far, and I've only expended the battery up to about 70% on say being out about 3 to 4 hours. To raise and lower the motor, as I mentioned earlier, I removed the locking mechanism that was right here. I tried several ways to keep it from interfering with going up and down, but it just was not working. So I have a pulley system. My parachute cord attaches here. I've got a loop that I can just easily remove. Goes through that pulley, through this pulley here, which is nothing but an anchor trolley pulley, through an eyelet. I guess you can hear that noise in the background. I'm near a high school, and they're doing something on a Saturday morning, and the wind's blowing from that direction. When I get ready to lift the trolling motor from my seat, I use two hands. The first hand is going to grab this loop and pull, and that raise and lower is fairly easy. And with my other hand, I'll grab this loop and tie it down like that right there. And that puts my motor in a high enough position so I don't run into sandbars and things like that. I can get very shallow with this. I can get in about 6 to 8 inches of water and without having to raise the trolling motor. To lower the trolling motor, I just reverse that, pull my loop off the cleat and let it slide down. I did modify the pedals on the Kayak. The foot pedals had a little toe mechanism that you use to turn the rudder. I removed all that and attached my cord, the rudder cord, directly to the pedal. Now I had to put a little electrical tie here to keep it from locking. I wanted my pedals to move freely, and that's what they do. So it's very easy to operate this with your feet. After a while, you just don't even think about it. You just push on the left pedal to turn left and push on the right pedal to turn right. When you remove the rudder on the Kayak, this is what you get. The shaft is mounted through that hole there. So my goal was to use that hole as to help hold down my mounting bracket for my trolling motor. So after cutting this piece of treated 2x4 and drilling a hole through it and putting the bolt through, what you have though is this little ridge here that makes it a little unstable. So to get around that, I took a half-inch piece of old cutting board that I had laying around, and I cut it to the shape that I wanted, and then routed out enough so that it will fit flush on that. The next step would be to secure this piece here to the bottom of my 2x4 piece, and then secure that whole platform to the Kayak, stick the bolt through, and then secure it on the bottom with a lock nut. So let me get all that done, and I'll show you what it looks like. So after putting it all back together, you can see that is very sturdy now, and I should not have any problem supporting my trolling motor. The wires going into the trolling motor consist of 4 wires. You've got a black and a white, 12 volt positive and ground, and then the yellow and white are to reverse the polarity of the motor so that you can put it in reverse or go forward. It's very important to make sure you match the existing gauge of wire. The black and white wires are 14 gauge, and the yellow and white wires are 16 gauge. It's also important to make sure that you use marine wire, which is tinned. It has more strands and is resistant to corrosion in the saltwater environment. It's the second speed. Third speed. Fourth speed. Finally, 5.